Indie Comic Union presents Quilt, a collaboration between the comic makers of the Union, an original story set upon the dying patchwork world of the Quilt. Join us on the adventure, not just in the comic, but in the making of it, on YouTube, Instagram, and at IndieComicUnion.com. Welcome back as we jump right into another Indie Comic Union collaborative comic project broadcast for the Quilt. This time, we're going to bring our laser focus right down to the level of just one character, one of the crater critters, Thunk, who has a mythological, magical destiny as we move forward in the story of the Quilt. We have been throwing around a lot of ideas about Thunk and his journey. That started with the script process, but it's been dialed down in our Discord forum as we've been talking and producing some concept art. We're going to go over that concept art as well as talk about some of the concepts for Thunk and how to make Thunk a unique and interesting character. So, the first drawing that I saw of Thunk was this one right here. I purposefully kind of held back from even imagining. And so it was so cool because this is John Osborne's version of Appanon holding Thunk. And I don't know, John, do you want to talk about something that inspired this?
Well, I mean, early on when you had mentioned it, there were so many ideas that were coming to mind. I mean, I immediately was thinking about, Mjolnir and Stormbreaker and Big Barda's boom tube and just all those iconic single-handed weapons, and wanted to make it like fit. If it was like in an armory, I wanted it to be able to be positioned between them and look as if it, was supposed to be there. So I just wanted it to look heavy and hard. So I wanted to give it kind of some colorization with the bronzing a little bit. But like I said, when we were starting to develop this, I didn't want to do too much to it. I want to keep it as simple as possible because I didn't want to inform anyone else's designs moving forward. So
and I do remember it was a cool moment because I had written wanting to have Thunk kind of die at the end of that issue. And then as we were talking about Appanon showing up, we just kind of went, wait, what if her weapon is Thunk at that point? What if she just picks him up and he becomes this thing? And it was kind of a cool writing moment because I don't think either of us were headed that way until the conversation brought it out. And so that's one of the fortuitous things, and I think almost like the hallmark of what we were hoping would happen working on a collaborative project was that ideas would suggest themselves based on our conversations and our interactions creatively. So that Thunk is kind of ground zero for what we wanted to have happen in this process.
A role model.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if it was the first time I saw it, but one of the first times I noticed that somebody had put an eyeball on Thunk was this with Robbie's piece. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And it helps kind of, it's so cool. And it helps you kind of like imagine a creature version too. Like, what would it kind of connects it probably.
Yeah, brings it to life and shows that there's maybe still something anthropomorphic, something character-wise there still.
Yeah.
And then Robbie, he's been on a tear lately with some of the designs.
Yeah.
This
is so good.
One of the first, like Connor and this one are the first to really commit to the Thunk before they're a mace.
When I was drawing my one, you'll probably see it in a minute.
Yeah.
I intentionally made the handle, and I still really like the idea of it as like its legs coiling around themselves to create the handle.
Oh yeah, you could do like a Celtic.
Yeah, so if you look on whenever my one comes up, it'll definitely be in here because it's the best one. The legs are, it's like two legs meeting at the top, and then further down where she's holding it, it starts coiling together like it's a coiled bit of metal.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's skip ahead because this one does. I like the personality. There's definitely a lot of attitude going on here.
I love the expression. That's what I just love.
Yeah, and I can clearly see how you can see him draw him and move him and pose him.
Yeah,
He's
so
really
much.
suggestive.
I like the little stud that he's got just under his lip.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like used one of the spikes.
Little soul
love it.
patch. Yeah.
Yeah, this is really sweet.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's all right. Here's the beginning of the Connor with the eye. And I'm just going to skip ahead, Connor, because we have discussed this one before, but we haven't here. Is this the one you were talking about?
Well, it was the last one I was talking about, but in this one I gave him the two separate, like, yes. So if you look at the bottom of where the mace head is, I've made it like it's just the two legs put together.
Yeah, and it kind of spirals right there.
And like a handle, like it would be if it was like leather binding on a sword or a mace. But it's the legs coiled together. So I thought that was a good idea, but
yeah, that's a great transformation touch like that too. Yeah.
Aponon.
It reminds me of like a vine a little bit.
I missed that, John. What was that?
I said it just reminds me of a vine a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has an organic metal element to it like that. That's kind of cool. All right. And then Connor, with this one, you got it going on. That's more solidified, but it still has that mace-like.
I made him more like a chestnut kind of, where the eyeball is like what would you call it? I guess the chestnut's what's inside it, but the chestnut shell is green and spiked around it. I don't know if you know what a chestnut looks like. I don't know where in America you get chestnuts. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And then on the inside, there's the huge shell, the hard bit in the middle. And traditional game in Britain is you smash those together. You put them on bits of rope and you smash them together. So I thought it was a good connection between Thunk becoming a weapon. So I give him his spikes more prominent, then give him the big long legs. So they could like morph out of anywhere, any one of his spikes. I was thinking it doesn't necessarily have to be at the same place, but a spike on his head could turn into one of his legs or arms.
Oh, that's cool.
I love your gesture holding the fruit.
Yeah, it's like Venus kind of moving up.
Yeah.
Now, okay, this is totally off topic of Thunk, but you're bringing up chestnuts. So conkers, is that a term that you employ as well?
Right. Yeah, conkers. Conkers is the nut part, and then you play conkers by putting like a string through it, and then you slam them against other people's ones.
Yeah, the toughest one prevails, right?
Yeah. And you cheat by like putting in vinegar, which makes it harder, or you're supposed to like Vaseline it up, and none of them really worked. And some people would paint rocks brown and cheat.
Yeah, we have horse chestnuts on the West Coast, or in Washington State at least, and so my son and I have familiarity with them as conkers like that too.
Honor, this is such a great one too. I really like what you did with Kevin's kind of beetle style.
Yeah, because at first when I saw Kevin's one, it's a great design, but I thought it might be a bit too clothy. I know Sliver's got his sweater, but he seems to be the only one that it's in his design has got a proper like piece of clothing on. So I just tried to make it look more organic. So I turned the cape into like a ladybird shell. So it's like a beetle wings coming out the back. I guess it's still got kind of shoes. I took away the belt, but obviously the belt could go back in. I just tried to simplify it as best I could.
Yeah, I gotta say I like the belt, but I also like the beetle wings. It's kind of clever.
Yeah, it's definitely unique for sure.
I was just saying Sliver looks like he's Moses parting the Red Sea there. I didn't realize how holy he looks. I've put too much lighting on him a little bit. Maybe it's because his yellow jumper and he's got his arms out.
It's his arms, I think. And,
they're supposed to be catching the fruit. They're supposed to be catching the fruit that are dropping from about like the X, if that's what we're still calling them just now. Is going to be dropping down.
Matt, do we remember? I think Robbie was making a push for Zubu.
Yeah.
Yeah. XUBU, I think, is the spelling that it was pushing.
And what was the other one?
You know, I don't.
Something.
Yeah. Yago,
I think Yago or something.
Yago or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first volley. So we'll have to see how that plays out in the Discord for naming them.
Yeah.
So let's see what we got. Let's make a little progression. Okay. We'll jump through that. All right. The other thing that is a good thing to introduce that we didn't pick up on and roll with last time is that concept of the drain. So Thunk has that relationship moving down towards the drain because the bruised black is going to sweep down and he's going to hop on some surfboards of the fruit and move them down towards that drain area. And I thought I'd just throw in a little bit of story starter and conversation about dealing with thought processes about laying out that drain scene. So because they end up at the basin sad and figuring out that I guess Zubu is the temp name that we're going with at the moment. It has fallen down that drain and they lower Sliver down in there looking for him. So.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost it would be fun to see people dip into like just pure black and white for that scene. And
yeah.
And kind of change the
really,
color palette.
And it would be really tense, you know?
Yeah. So, and then kind of thinking about Thunk, one of the phrases that is solidified in this script was him kind of chiding everyone, do what you're supposed to and it'll all be okay. And I think that kind of encapsulates the early thought processes of Thunk. He's somewhat of a doting leader that kind of herds the rest of them. And that helps with that transformation. Even the type of weapon he turns into, a mace, it's not a really outgoing attack. It's not like a big battle axe or something like that where it's really aggressive. It's almost more of a don't come near me or you'll get whacked kind of weapon, really. And then his real actions that define him are failing to save Zubu, failing again at the fire because he goes away to patrol and they light the fire anyway. And it calls in the bad guys. And then that final event of heroic event that he brings up at the end is herding them away and getting them into the crack before he perishes and goes through his transformation event with Aponon. So the biggest reason for this to be here is so as other union members are kind of going over this, they'll see this summative information too when they approach this, and it'll help their thinking about developing the character.
Awesome.
Did you guys have things you wanted to add with regards to Thunk and your ideas about Thunk and the design process for him?
No, I think that what you guys have developed in terms of personality is really fitting for the character, and I mean, I can't wait to get started personally.
Yeah, we're getting there. We've touched all these things, and people have been throwing so many designs out. We're almost there, right?
Yeah.
Have we figured out whether he's gonna still, because he does talk?
Mm-hmm.
So will he talk once he's become the weapon, or will he revert back to being a living thing until she grabs him again to use him as a weapon?
That's a good question.
Because it could either go two ways. One, since he's the leader, he's sort of, I was going to say emasculated, but that's not. It could be any gendered thing. He's de-leadered by getting used as an instrument by someone else, or he's permanently stuck like that, and it's some kind of like internal. And he's while still being aware that he's being used as a weapon. Both are quite bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Story-wise, my writer sense says taking him away for a while creates chemistry. It shakes things up and creates a new dynamic in a group that we created that was stable and clearly led by Thunk. Removing Thunk makes someone else have to fill that void, or several characters have to fill that void. The most obvious being Aponon. And then it gives us story motion to find a way to bring Thunk back, or to accidentally have Thunk reawaken at the right moment. So narrative-wise, I think if we take him away for a while, that vacuum is writing gold, and it's going to create story tension and sadness too that he's gone. So we get to suffer all these losses and then have a reawakening. And we also get to discover like we talked about, he has a big destiny at the end, some kind of role as a key that deals with the bruise black. If we even get that far as we create this terrarium, we ever decide we want to wrap it up, I think that's where it should be wrapped up, is with something, something, something. Thunk is a key, something, 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 the end, you know?
Yeah.
So, and at least even if it doesn't go that way, having that end game, I think is important. I always remembered Jeff Smith in writing Bone. Before he even started, he said he was laying on his sofa and he realized the last page of the whole story and what happened at the very end of Bone before he ever started.
Mm-hmm.
And having that cognitive moment, I think, helps make you feel like you're actually onto something, you know, whether it's real or it's a delusion. Kind of having an idea that there's an ending, I think, is really helpful to write something. So.
Nice.
Well, you guys, let's jump over to Magma, and let's see. Okay. All right, I'm there. And Matt, I'll do my best to share the screen with you too. It gets kind of funky when we go into
Here we go, huh?
yeah.
Cool. What colors do you guys like for Thunk?
Oh, that's a good question.
I've just been going for like that bronzy kind of orangey kind of browny orange that everybody else has been doing.
There's been so much design, and John is so good at color that I just immediately, once I saw that, it was like, oh yeah, Thunk is orange and bronzy looking.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I kind of had an idea, like, and I tried to convey it in an image where, you know what metal looks like when it's heated? It has that like thermal glow to it.
Oh yeah.
I kind of want to add that, but you know, it also doesn't make a lot of sense why he would glow. So
very true. Although
he's also a transforming mace, so
yeah, and there's the little detail I had in there was there's a whirring sound whenever he gets worked up, and then that whirring sound comes back when Aponon swings him, and so, you know, a glowing energy kind of thing seems to go along with maybe expressing heated emotion, and when he starts to whir, he glows. You know,
that's cool. I like that.
Makes a lot of sense. Nice thing about sci-fi and fantasy, you can always come up with a reason why something's going on.
Yeah. A wizard did it.
Hey Matt, what about you? Colors with Thunk?
Well, I'm gonna go with that what you guys were just talking about. I got so excited to color the last time. I'm doing it reversed today. I'm doing colors first.
Oh, cool.
And then do maybe a dip pen or something if we get to it. And I might really drift away from our narrower focus, but I think that's still fun to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think even these things that kind of like, I'm not trying to derail anything. I think it's kind of nice to see.
Agreed. It's good to take those risks and things. On the one hand, we're trying to scale up really fast, and we're saying all these decisions there's just so many of them, and they all in the end, it's the aggregate of doing this whole thing as fast as we can and getting it up to production. The individual decisions aren't as important as getting it all laid out and going for it and being open to it, try things, and if they don't work out, we adapt and change it and shift. And because there really is, I'm noticing so much to this group design process to unfurl before we can even get going, just because people say, well, wait, I don't know how how big is the crater, or what does Thunk, what are his legs like? How many hands does a character have? And there's this oodles of questions going on that we have to sort of settle or lay some artwork out before we can just blast this out.
My main problem is that I have so many questions because I keep going back to the pages, skimming it, and then missing the most important bit that I was looking for, and it makes me look stupid.
Well, there's so much going on. One of the worries I have is we're producing so much video right now that it's a deluge. Speaking of Splinter looking like Noah, it's a flood of info.
I also support that the bruised black should be spelled BROOZE.
You're going for brew, like BRO,
like ooze.
Ooze. Oh, I see. Okay.
A little ooh in there.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. Like EW.
So they like
I see.
That calm feeling just took over.
Yeah.
That's always so nice.
Here comes the Zen.
Yeah.
I think all of us have that effect. We're supposed to keep the conversation going, but we're just dropping into meditation.
Which is good.
I really like their YouTube channel, but they just, when they start drawing, they just shut up.
Yeah.
That's why music in the background is good. Or,
Yeah.
Or they have a live stream going where they have to respond to what's being said, asked of them as they draw. So,
well, isn't that our jobs to be the live stream chat?
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so far.
But we're not doing it.
Well, we're actually doing it at this very moment.
No, I've been shown to be a fool on live YouTube.
Oh, let's get that going. I have my
Looking good, guys.
Connor had a big reveal just then because I've been recording with my menu out. Now we can see what Connor's got going on.
Oh, good. I was wondering.
That's a little better. Sorry about that, Connor.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really impressed by the amount of work both Robbie and Connor have been producing for this over the past few weeks. Like every time I get on, like a giant thread of new work. It's so awesome.
I gotta say, Matt too has been just pounding out some pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's a good excuse to procrastinate on things I'm supposed to be working on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey Matt, I'm gonna feature you, and I'm gonna pop yours up here into to spotlight. Let's see.
Cool.
There we go. Let's see.
I love your color choices, Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm just, this right here is just, I'm just goofing around. It's really just learning something about it.
All your stuff has like this really cool, almost iridescent look to the color, but it looks natural. Everything looks like the way it's supposed to look, but just, I don't know, in the colors you're choosing or whatever, it has kind of an iridescence to it.
Oh, thanks.
Good. Gautam, can I move over to yours? And
Sure.
let's see.
Be a little closer, actually. Hang on.
Oh,
Right on.
that is awesome,
Sweet.
man.
And that kind of woven quality that Connor had mentioned up in the top right there.
Yeah.
I really like the tentacles because you can, I mean, just looking at them, you can almost animate in your mind the raveling they do to
Yeah.
transform.
Mhm.
I
Well-
never even really thought about it until looking at this. A lot of similarities to like how they show like viruses or
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. I imagined like, well, this second one up here too is like, I've been playing a lot. I've been liking this idea of like crystalline motifs as like and back to this idea of virus, but crystal as like as an infectious agent. As and I,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like I posted in a thread like this kind of like sort of space barbarian pirate character who, and the kind of the moving part is that because I was thinking that that's a great way to get like sort of like cheap fantasy cybernetics at the same time too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and you can it's a nice easy port, and then you don't have to over explain it, you know. So it's nice. But then I was thinking too, since there's this idea, if with that idea specifically in this one here, like this is like a spire of the crystals that's actually killed Thunk and like popped out, and this is the sort of in the sort of like kind of death throes or like dormancy throes, like curled its tentacles around the spike, and that's how it, so it sort of is. And then here I was just thinking sort of like metal crustacean that comes to like dies and sort of like comes together as, and then becomes a spike mace. But
Yeah, like a rictus, like when
Yeah.
the spider dies, it'll.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like it's sort of like it shrivels up and the legs like lock into place, but it's metal, so it basically solidifies into a weapon. Is Thunk one of a kind, or like is there like a species of Thunks?
You know, that's outlining what we've written. In my mind at this point, it's one of a kind.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that the future doesn't have difference to it. We're trying to create a world that suggests things, but we don't want to create the world. We want to create the comic in you know, just like a week or two. So that sounds like something that would be a great possibility to go down and find more of his kind or something, or their kind. Man, John, you want to talk about what you have happening?
Really, I just going off of what you guys have already spoken about with the weaving and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I like it, but I gotta say, I really like the ones we just saw with the tentacles and the.
Oh, yeah.
Like after I saw that, I looked over at mine. I'm like, I'm gonna erase this.
Yeah, I feel you. I was very much phoning it in with mine. Just going with that coiled handle kind of thing. Yeah, Gautam, you had a lot of great concepts that would really bring out the mythology, or you talked about the having the crystal stabbed in that could be a part of why it's why Thunk is going through that transformation, or is different, or whatever, or dormant, whatever we want to, however we want to take that story down the road. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I'm happy to contribute.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, but I do like it. It's funny because with all the different styles, you know, there's a lot more like, you know, there's illustrative and more cartoony, like kind of going against each other. Not necessarily against each other, but like clashing for sure at times.
Oh, yeah.
I think. Because I'm looking at right now, I'm just looking at the shared screen, and it's like I like mine, but I think visually I think there's a lot more appeal in like the more cartoony one because I feel it's more expressive. Like I don't think mine's as expressive as character wise, design wise, because it's very like it was more texture than building a character. I guess I should draw it more and see what it looks like in different like positions of movement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing that'll happen together too, and can even be incongruent as it starts out and figures itself out. But reinterpreting what you did will bring some interesting things out, and it'll make the design easier to be translated in the future, as it kind of shakes out. And that's cool to be a part of all this and see different reads on things.
That's really the spirit of it.
Yeah. And Connor, I see you developing that kind of walking on the hands kind of approach.
Cool.
Yeah. I was thinking about, because obviously because it's metal, that it could be, it's like, and obviously it'll morph in some way. So, and I just really like drawing like ooze, and goop. I mean, honey here, that's 90% of what I draw anyway.
Yeah.
So I was just wanting to put them like through like half a liquid form, and then also if you're going with the crystal idea, it could also be the crystal sort of half fuses into them. So I'll see. So let's draw classic Chaos Emerald crystal.
I do like the idea of the crystals maybe giving Thunk the, having that effect on him, but also giving him maybe those sharp pieces, that instead of them being like this metal spike, those can be maybe shards of the crystal.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, but I was just saying, then you could very texturally have the transformation between a very curved character who's all like curved lines to like a character with like very rigid, jagged protrusions and lines, which is a nice, especially for a character has a single eye as their sort of expressive tool.
Yeah.
In story, that's a great way to show a nice visual change to them.
Sure.
In addition with color change too.
Yeah. I'm on board for all of it. We've had a lot of good ideas. Whatever plays out, I'm happy with it.
This is sort of what I was thinking here, is like a crawling caterpillar-ish thing, and inside is sort of a womb or like another creature inside. And so it's sort of, you can't see much now because the lines aren't there, but I'm imagining there's an eye and there's sort of these tentacles and things. And here's a little sketch I got myself. And I imagine it's sort of crawling in a cool critter. And then inside is sort of almost a real like human looking creature. And I kind of went feminine here. And so I imagine this really cool transformation where it's like sort of just standing and looking up, and then the arms raising up, and then the points of the hands and the elbows and this hair harden and become, or somehow transform and become a mace, and the body, sort of the curve of the hips to the feet is a place to hold with your hand, and totally different direction. But
I really like the legs from the portion from the knee, like the tibia, the acting as like a handle.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We'll spotlight for everyone. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool touch, Matt. And that's a neat transformation sequence, and even the hatching out. It's like, it's so cool. I almost want it to be its own thing, and you bring it in as somebody that we can discover in the
well. Yeah, I love the way the hands go together. There's so much like acting going on there, like in that sequence, and it's like, oh yeah, that's yeah.
And what I'm imagining, the part I like actually is this, like she is sort of asleep and having a nice little nap inside, and sort of dormant inside this, and not really, I don't know, maybe not even totally connected, like a distant connection to who this is on the outside. And then this happens during that kind of, I got to become a mace.
And we're all attracted to it too, because it's sequential art, that's happening right here. And it's telling us a narrative just in what you put together with the transformation sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
I was just trying to do like a quick illustration of like that crystalline structure going into Thunk, and I made it look too much like an ice cream cone. So I'm trying to save it a little bit by adding more jags.
I was gonna say, oh, I see. You got it going on, like the kid's sad dropped ice cream cone. Yeah.
That is, it makes it even sadder that would be him kill.
Oh, built ice cream cone. He's definitely like Rocky Road with those crystals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let's drop us back into our gallery view here, and we can keep drawing and keep moving forward. But we'll do a wrap up at this point, and we'll say thanks for joining the Indie Comic Union as we're working on our collaborative project, the Quilt. This was our opportunity to bring together all the disparate ideas we have for Thunk. As you can see, nothing is even settled at this point. We're not walking away with a consensus, but I think things are just going to start to shake out based on who grabs panels and starts to do some of the development work in the weeks ahead as we move forward with this. So stay tuned and you'll see all the chaos ensue. Everyone want to wave goodbye to TV Land?
Bye.
TV Land.
Goodbye, TV Land.
Connor.
Oh,
You're up.
Connor, yeah.
Connor.
Well, all I'm going to say this time is that if you don't like and subscribe, me and your mother, we won't be mad, but we will be very disappointed.
Oh, the worst. The worst mother's disappointment.
It's effective.
That was harsher than the stern one that you gave a few weeks ago.